Hello, people. Welcome back to the Alien Resurrect. Wait, I said Alien Resurrection Isolation playthrough. Oh man, imagine that game, but made now with basketball shots. Now, wouldn't it be funny if I just got grabbed again? Up, here you go again. All right, just had to make sure my mic and everything was working. Okay. All right, where I gotta go? Well, finally, I'm back upright. Well, kinda. Okay. Oh boy, back to this slow space walk. Oh man. Not a big fan of these sections. Do you want to experience the tedium of being a space engineer? Well, here you go. We got you covered, bros. Do I gotta mess with this? Nah. Okay. Oh, great. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Speed it up. Yes, this is what I mean, dude. I like this. Just make sure it slows down on time. Oh no! I knew it. That thing was going a little bit too fast. It's like the screen is slanted. I guess the space station is slanted or something. The stairway to heaven. Okay, is that it? Or I don't see him. Where the fuck is it? Oh, I see. Okay. What if I just didn't have the code? Wait, hold up. Okay. This game is not gonna end until you kill an alien. that's the only way they'll be willing to end this game. Oh wait, the car's already there. Okay, that's cool. There's no way this game's gonna end. Can't release on activation clowns. I like how she took time to read it. I hope it's fairly simple. Oh god. Oh god. What is this? I'm just gonna go with the flow. Okay. Oh shit. Do something! Oh shit. Woo! End of the hunt? Did I do it? Yeah! Yep. Go take over that planet, you sons of bitches. Suck my dick. Or eat my pussy. I'm Amanda. Alright, get to the bridge.
Verlaine, I'm on my way up to the bridge.
I still don't think it's over. This game is meet Verlaine on the bridge. Watch her be a fucking android that fucking chokes me out or some shit. You just never know with this game, man. Okay. Can I please get the fuck out of this fucking suit?
Verlaine?
Come on, dude. The red flags are just piling up. Elaine? Elaine? Come on. Ripley signing off. Survivor. Hey, did I really survive? Like, look at me. Huh. uh. Okay. Mmm.
This is Ripley.
This is Ripley. Yeah. So let's smoke and talk. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I don't think that was a good ending. As great as this game was, they fucked up the ending. That was not a good ending. That was kind of lame overall. That was not a good ending. I gotta be honest. The ending should have been you killing at least one of the aliens with your bare hands. Not like your hands, but you know, actually having to fight the like maybe finding a new gun that could actually hurt and kill an alien. Like, it should have been like one alien got on that ship, right? And you needed to kill it with like this gun or something that you found. And so you kill it, and then you maybe you have to somehow get it to, I don't know, just shoot it out of space or something, you know, something like that. That would have been much better. That was not a good ending. Like, I'm so disappointed. Like, as good as that game was, that was not a good ending. I gotta be honest. Like, the amount of effort they put into that last run of you trying to escape, there were so many places where they could have placed a good final boss battle, and they never did. It was just always you being hunted. They fucked that ending up. That was not a good ending. I gotta be honest. And then on top of that, it's like, did she survive? What was that like? Was that a ship finding her? Like, is she safe? I mean, again, like,
The network will pick me up.
the ending wasn't very satisfying, and then on top of that, you don't really get any closure as far as what actually happens to Ripley, despite all the shit she's been through. So, like with Resident Evil 1, when you escape, you're on the fucking helicopter. You know you made it. It's like, oh, it's a sigh of relief. And then you have the epic final boss battle with Tyrant. Like, that's the ending. That's the ending done well. This was not a good ending because you didn't have an epic final battle. You were just tinkering with machines, and then there was like this QTE section at the very end where you gotta press left, then right, then X. Wow. I can't look. They fucked it up. I'm gonna keep it real. They fucked it up. I love this game, but they fucked up the ending. That, I can't believe it. I'm shocked. Like the amount of things they got right up until this point is crazy. That they fucked up the ending that bad. That is crazy to me. How? That doesn't make any fucking sense, yo. How did they fuck it up that bad? Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. And in the words of Chuck, Charles Barkley, that was terrible. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in that ending. Wow. So, and you know, I've been thinking about what to score this game, and in my mind, I had an 8.5. 8.5 the whole time. Like I was like, yo, this game is definitely gonna be anywhere from 8 to a 9. And about halfway through, I was like, okay, this is gonna be an 8.5 right here. But now it's an 8. That final part bumped it down. It's an 8, which is still great. I still think it's a great game. But the ending took away a whole half a point for me. I am so disappointed right now because of how good everything was up until this point. That ending was terrible and dull. What the fuck? What potent ass crack were you guys smoking on that last day? Y'all fuck, like, what? That makes no sense. How did you think playing with a fucking machine is a satisfactory ending to the game? You play with this fucking machine, and then it's like, oh, I'm in space and I fall on the ship, but wait, it's an alien on the ship, and oh, I'm back in space and a light. That's terrible. They fucked it up, man. I'm so oh god, yo, that just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That was terrible, bro. What the fuck, man? I love this game, and they fuck it up with the goddamn ending. Oh my god, yo, all that shit. Like, again, not an epic boss battle where you finally kill an alien. And on top of that, you don't get closure for Ripley as far as like knowing that she's safe. That light could have been a band of fucking space rape pirates who just fucking take turns raping the fuck out of her for a fucking year and then throwing her fucking corpse into outer space. So you don't get the epic ending, the epic boss battle, and you don't get closure for Ripley. That's terrible. That's just terrible. It would have been better if she just died. Then it's like, oh shit, she died. What a like then like. You gotta respect the twist death ending always. I can at least respect that, but that was not good. They fucked up the ending, so I give it an 8. But let's rewind a little bit. Let me talk about the good and the bad a little bit. So, one of the things I like about this game right off the bat is that I feel like it does a very great job of capturing the vibe of the original movie. I feel like most of the Alien games that came out before this were trying to be like Aliens, the sequel, which was a lot more action packed. But this is the first one that I feel like really captures the vibe of the first one, as far as the balance between action and adventuring or exploring the ships. The tension, your reliance on stealth and improvising with very little tools. They just did a really good job of making a survival horror game in the likeness of the original Alien movie. Everything down to just the environments. And I said this before, but it's like it's futuristic, but it's also primitive in a way because it's the 1970s or early 80s interpretation of what the future will look like. You know, that's why you still have computers that look like they were made in fucking 1995 or some shit like that, even though the year's like what 2150, whatever the fuck. But yeah, they did a really good job with that. I also really like how scary the game is. I found the game to be very scary, and if not scary, then there was a lot of tension. Especially not so much from the humans, but that's expected. But the aliens were extreme. They made the game extremely stressful to play. I mean, and really, they were even worse than Mr. X, because with Mr. X, you know, yeah, I mean, honestly, he barely caught me. If you watch my Resident Evil 2 remake playthrough, he barely ever got his hands on me, except during like I think the boss battle where he just kicked my ass, but he barely got his hands on me, especially during my Claire playthrough. I don't think he ever touched me even once. Like, he was easy to he brought a lot of tension and fear to the game, but he was easy to avoid. These aliens were very difficult to avoid. They scooped me up so many times. I must have had at least 100 deaths in this game, if not more. But I think that's what they would go. I think that's what they wanted with this game. I think they wanted you to die a lot. But yeah, they did a very good job with the aliens. Like, they were very intimidating. They were scary. But not only the aliens, the androids, that was another nice touch, you know. And it's funny because I remember I was watching one of Game Informer's playthroughs, and they were talking about alien games, and one of the commentators, he was talking about how the problem with alien games is that they have such a limited amount of creatures to pull from that world. He was basically saying that with most alien games, the primary creatures are always aliens or face huggers. It's always just some variation of that. And I haven't played every single alien game, so I'm not sure if they ever did this, but this is the first time playing an alien game where androids were a major enemy, a major threat, and they did a really good job with them. I think the fact that they didn't look just like humans, that made them a way scarier than they would have been. That was a really nice touch. The fact that they had these sort of primitive androids that didn't look, that weren't so human-like that you wouldn't notice it at a glance, because that's really what they're supposed to be. When you look at the movies, the android characters, you never really can tell that they're androids until they get busted open and you start seeing like the white goop coming out of them and whatnot, or when they malfunction or whatever. But in the movies, the androids were always indistinguishable from humans. But in this game, they had these primitive androids and they had like these creepy almost like bag-like faces, almost like it was a skull with a bag, like a fucking leather skin-like bag wrapped around it. They were very creepy looking. And then on top of that, when they would turn against the humans, their eyes would turn red. And the way they would walk towards you, I mean, they had that Michael Myers walk, which made them even scarier. And the shit they would say, like, I will find you. Like those androids were a really nice touch to the overall, to the enemy variety of the game, which there really isn't a lot. You think about it, you got the face huggers, you have humans, the crazy humans, you have the androids, the almost indestructible androids, and the aliens. So there are really only 5 enemy types throughout the entire game. But not once did I feel like, man, like there's not enough variety as far as how I like the enemies and my options as far as dealing with them. So that was pretty cool. Okay, let me see. And another thing I liked about it, this game has such a unique balance between being underpowered and being able to fight back. I've played a lot of survival horror games in my days. Certainly not all of them, but I've played a lot of them. And this game is very unique as far as that balance. And I said this before, but Resident Evil is like games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, fighting back is a core mechanic of the game. Like being not just fighting back, but being able to fight back and kill the enemies that are a threat to you. It's very rare in those games that you run into enemies that you cannot kill. They use that. They do have enemies like that every now and then in certain games, but again, that's the minority of enemies. For the most part, survival horror games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill and whatnot, they're made so that you can actually destroy your enemies. And that does kind of take away from a bit of the fear and the tension a little bit, because you always know, as bad as things get, I can always fight back and kill anything that's a threat to me. But then you also, on the other hand, you have survival horror games like Amnesia or Clock Tower, where you're pretty much completely defenseless and you have to rely on stealth, and you have to solve puzzles and figure out where you got to go next and find items and whatnot to proceed while you're being hunted, and you got to avoid enemies. And again, that style of survival horror game is cool too. I would definitely say that I prefer the Resident Evil style or the style of survival horror game where you can fight back and kill your enemies, because I do feel like those games can still be scary even when you can destroy your enemies, right? I don't think that prevents it from being scary, but I think it does limit its potential as far as fear when you can destroy your enemies. Like Resident Evil 2 remake, for example, part of what made Mr. X so intimidating was that you couldn't kill him. If you could kill Mr. X, I mean, maybe it would have took 100 handgun rounds, 50 shotgun shells, whatever. If you could kill Mr. X, then the first thing you would do is just gather the resources necessary and take him out so you don't have to deal with him. The fact that you couldn't just deal with him and get him out of the way, that he was always this, he was a constant presence and a constant threat to your survival, that made the game a lot scarier. And I feel like with this game, you have the aliens, which are, you can't kill, period, but you can fight back and make them run away. You can fend them off temporarily. And I think that's a good balance right there. It's like the best of both worlds. Like, you can fight back. You have the joy of combat and the satisfaction of being able to fight back, but the fact that you can't actually destroy the alien makes it so they're much more intimidating, and that fear factor never quite goes below a certain threshold. You know, it would probably be worse if you could not make fend them off at all. But the fact that you can does give you a sense of not safety, but it's like, okay, well, worst comes to worst, I can fend him off. Worst comes to worst, as long as I have flame rounds or a Molotov or a pipe bomb, then that's sort of my get out of jail free card for at least a minute. So you have an option, but still, like, that's such a good balance. And I don't think I've ever played a survival horror game with a balance between being able to fight back and being underpowered. I'm like, this is such a unique balance of those two things. And then on top of that, you have the androids that you can kill. So you are able to get the satisfaction of destroying certain enemies, just not the primary enemy. And of course, you're fighting other humans as well, so you get the satisfaction of killing them as well. So you get that satisfying combat within this game, but ultimately it's a game where the primary enemy cannot be killed. So again, that's what makes it so fucking unique. But yeah, those are the main things I like about it. Other than things like, of course, the graphics. The graphics were very good. The music too. I gotta give a shout out to the music. The sound design, everything from the music to the sound effects, the voice acting was on point. Even the fucking voices of the droids, the alien sounds, explosions, gunshots, whatever. Like, the sound design was completely on point. The music, this is honestly some of the best music I've ever heard in a survival horror game. Like, I'm definitely going to check out the OST to this game. They had some good tracks in this game. I cannot lie. The music and sound design of this game is top notch. But let me get to what I didn't like about this game though. Okay, so my 3 problems with this game, and I'm gonna just go ahead and start off where I left off. That ending was not good. I already ranted about it. I already said it. I already said my piece. But just to kind of sum it up again, they fucked up that ending. That was not a good ending. It was a great game, but they fucked up the ending. The ending should have been an epic battle with the alien. You kill at least one alien, and you have that fight that finally I killed one, and then you get closure for Ripley as far as knowing her fate. Not just, oh, she's in space and there's a light on her face. No. That was bad. You fucked up. Okay. Now, another thing that I don't like about this game, I feel like it drags on unnecessarily. The game is longer than I expected, and that's not an issue. It's just that playing survival horror games, you get used to a certain time. Like I know most about survival horror games, the average time to beat them is like 10, maybe 15 hours or so. Like, you know, maybe 10 to 20. Like, that's at the most. Like, survival horror games don't tend to be very long. And this game, it took me, I think this is the part 26. It took me 26 parts to beat this game. This game was longer than fucking Vampire. And that game has so much talking and oh my God, so much dialogue. And yet somehow it took me longer to beat this game. But then again, you got to think about the fact that, you know, being a noob playing this game, I really took my time as far as exploring. And then when I was being pursued and hunted, really just the fact that you have to be so quiet. You know, you can sprint, but really you never really want to sprint because it just draws the attention of enemies. So this game really teaches you to either walk or crouch, and that's about it. Like, you only run when you know it's 100% safe, and it's not very often that you know that it's 100% safe. So that might have been part of it too, but no, it's not the fact that it took longer than usual for me, or it's not the fact that the game was longer than I expected, but I feel like towards the end, like I think when I was around like hour 19 or 18, somewhere around there, I was like, oh, the game has to be ending pretty soon. Like, there can't be like another hour or two. Like, this is it, man. And it wasn't. It was another part and another part and another. Like, it kept surprising me. Like, wow, like this is still going. And I feel like past a certain point, they should have cut out some of the filler in this game. I feel like there are probably a few parts that could have been cut out that really had no true value, other than padding out the game and making it unnecessarily long. Like, I think back to that one part where you put on the spacesuit and you gotta slowly walk across the station just to tinker with some machines, and then you slowly walk back, and there's no real tension or anything because you're not being pursued. There's really nothing going on. They didn't even use the opportunity to like make you have a conversation with Ricardo or anything, which could have given him more depth or whatever. Like, moments like that. And then on top of that, when you put on the spacesuit and the alien snatches you up, but it doesn't kill you, and you're stuck on the wall, but you're able to break out on your own, unlike anybody else. Again, like, why? Like, again, just the stupidity of that aside, the fact that you got snatched up from, I think you were going to the airlock, and then the alien brings you all the way back somewhere, and then you got to get all the way back to the airlock. Like that was not necessary. Like, that whole part was not really necessary. The game really did not need that. If they wanted to have a sequence where Ripley got captured and had to escape, they could have did that when you first went to the nest. When you first went to the nest, there could have been a part where you get snatched up and stuck in the wall. You got to break out, and they could have did that same thing there, but they put it at the end, and the whole sequence just felt unnecessary to me. At least it was better than the whole space station walk, though, because at least during that time you're still being pursued by the alien, so you are enjoying the survival horror gameplay. You know, the stealth, the hiding, fighting back occasionally, using distractions. So I'm not saying that from a gameplay perspective it's bad. Those parts are still enjoyable. It just feels unnecessary, because at that point I'm like, okay, like, you're trying to get the fuck out, so everything towards getting the fuck out should make sense, you know, and that just felt unnecessary. And I'm sure there are other parts that were, when I look back on it, I'll realize, yeah, that was unnecessary. That was filler, that was padding, just to add another 10 or 15 minutes to the game. So I do feel like the game was probably just a little bit too long. I think they probably could have cut out at least an hour of content and just kind of smooth everything out towards a logical conclusion. But I feel like there's at least an hour of filler in this game that this game really does not need. Because past a certain point, I was feeling like this game is dragging on. I'm enjoying it, but it's like, come on, like, give me a break. It ain't this much goddamn machines and shit that I need to fuck with in the world. Like, come on, dog. Like, what happened to having a fucking escape pod in section B? You go to section B, you get in the escape pod, you get, like, goddamn, like, all the shit she had to do just to find a way off that goddamn ship. Like, don't make no damn sense whatsoever. So, yeah, I just feel like the game kind of dragged on a bit too long. They could have cut out at least like an hour of content, if you ask me. So, another thing I didn't like about the game, I feel like when I think back to the Alien movies, one of the things that makes it good is that like each movie, probably with the exception of 3, I like in this regard, 3 is probably the weakest in this area. But excuse me, at least in terms of 1, 2, and 4, those 3 especially, those movies always had a colorful cast of memorable characters. You know, even going back to the original Alien. If you've seen it, you know it's really like nothing. Well, I'm gonna say nothing, but the first death doesn't happen until like I think 50 minutes in or 45, like almost like an hour in or so. Like, and they spend all that time leading up to that event, fleshing out the characters, letting you get to know the characters and their various character qualities and perks or whatnot. I mean, character quirks. And so once people start dying, you've already built up an attachment to these people. And so it's like, damn, he died, and like, damn, she died, and you notice that too with the second one, Aliens, when they introduce all the space marines and whatnot, and give them their own dialogue, like, this is me, hey, red headband, look at me, red, you see the red headband? You're never gonna forget this. But really, man, and four too, man, because just you had fucking Winona Ryder, you had Ron Perlman, that black dude with the dreads. Oh man, you had fucking the guy who voiced Chucky in that movie. What's his name? Brad Dourif or something, whatever the fuck. But yeah, the Alien movies are known for having a good cast of characters. That's one thing I've always noticed and loved about that series. Again, 3 probably being the weakest in that regard, but even 3, I would say, does a decent job at that. But it's the weakest out of the 4. But that's what this game is lacking. This game does a good job at capturing the feel and the vibe of the original movie, but it's lacking a good cast. Now they did a good job with Ripley. I'll say that they did a fantastic job with Ripley. But really, that's about it. The other characters are just serviceable at best. And I just feel like, to me, that's something that this game is lacking. Like, I feel like, especially considering the considerable amount of downtime there is even throughout like the middle of the game, they had enough time to introduce and flesh out some characters so that you could at least give a fuck about them. I think at best, if I had to say some characters stood out, maybe Waits and Marlowe, as far as just being the scumbags who caused all this shit to begin with. Them being like selfish, greedy fuckheads. Maybe Samuels, the droid with a heart of gold. And maybe even Axel. And I think Axel is the shining example of what they should have done with more characters. I think there should have been more interactions like that. Maybe not necessarily them holding your hand through a whole section, but maybe have a part where you gotta, like, you're with another character like that girl, I don't remember her fucking name, the one that got hurt. Like, you could have had a section where you got to escort her through a part of the space station and make sure she doesn't get killed alongside you. You know, like something like that would have been cool, and that gives you an opportunity to build an attachment to the other characters in the game. Instead, you have these situations where it's like, okay, you meet this doctor, but he's fucking secluded himself and isolated himself off into his own little private chamber while he just barks orders at you, and then when you're finally done, he gets killed. And really, that's how a lot of the game goes. It's like you meet a character, they give you orders or instructions, and they eventually die. That's what happened with the doctor. That's what happened with Waits. That's what happened with Ricardo. That's kind of the whole thing that they do. Is like, okay, you meet this character, but then they're just gonna die once they're done giving you missions. And yeah, I just feel like they should have put more effort into fleshing out the characters and making them likable and making the audience build an attachment to them, so that when they do die, you give a fuck. It's like, damn, he died. Oh shit. That's how you should feel. But they didn't do that. I mean, even with Resident Evil 4, like when Lewis dies, like that fucking sucks, because they gave you enough interactions with Lewis to build an attachment to him. You know, you rescued him, and then you got captured together, and then he's telling you things. He's giving you valuable information. Then you have to fight side by side in the house together. And then he dies. It's like, oh shit, he got you the pills and everything. And you built an attachment to Lewis, and they did a good job of building up to his death. They didn't do that in this game. You know, really, there's not a single character who I really gave a fuck about other than Ripley. I just wanted Ripley to make it, you know? And they should have put more effort into making the side characters more likable. And give you more in-depth interactions with them. And last but not least, the last thing I don't like about it, this is just kind of like overall just little technical difficulties that I had with the game. Like one common problem that you saw me having was like using the weapons reel, how I would go to the menu and I would swear that I picked a certain weapon and I actually picked another one. That happened way too many times for it to just be like my fucking fault, dude. Like for it just be like, oh no, like dude, I know I clicked that fucking, but I swear I clicked that fucking weapon. It's just that I think the problem is that the weapons are too close together. I think that's the issue. Now, of course, you can mitigate this just by looking at which weapon you actually have. But again, all the different things you got to focus on and surviving and looking out for the aliens and whatnot, you know, it's a lot of things to process at the same time. And so when you're changing weapons or items, it's just go to the menu, move the analog stick where it needs to be, grab it, keep moving. Like that's the thought process. And so it was a lot of times where I ended up grabbing the wrong thing, because when I'm looking at the menu, I see that flamethrower is highlighted, but just as I let go, I guess it just went down enough to go to the fucking bolt gun. Like something like that, like shit like that happened so many times throughout the game. And there are just little minor things, like really insignificant minor technical issues about the game that I don't like, but nothing really major. That was probably the worst one though. I think out of everything, the weapons reel was what I had the most trouble with. But yeah, that's what I like about the game. That's what I don't like about it. Overall, I give the game an 8. I love this game. This is automatically in one of my favorite horror games ever list. I mean, real talk, like this is top 10. I don't know where, but it's top 10. But I'm disappointed because of that ending is very disappointing. So, but this game does have DLC, and I can't wait to check those out. Those actually look pretty interesting. So I'm gonna definitely play the DLC and record those as well. So look out for those, and I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. And this is Chad Marco signing off, and farewell.